Welcome back to the channel. In last week's episode, we arrived in France and headed into the Somme, spending some time around Arras and Albert and some of the World War I memorials. After that, we moved across to Normandy and the beautiful town of Honfleur, which is where you find us now. Good morning. So, nice evening in Honfleur last night. Very, very quiet in the. It was a bit windy, wasn't it? But apart from that, it was lovely and quiet here in the air de camp. Just making our way across further into Normandy today, so we'll come back to you from there. So after spending so much time among World War I history in the Somme, now it's on to World War II history in Normandy, and D-Day in particular. We begin our journey through the D-Day beaches at Pegasus Bridge on the eastern flank, where the British airborne took the two bridges over the canals near Ouistreham. The road then takes us through a succession of small towns along the beaches. Closed up now, off season. Lots of cafes and bars open, but that's about it. Beach is very peaceful, obviously a far cry from that day in June 1944. So our route has taken us along the coast today, which was a lovely drive. Always a bit weird to see those towns, like just reminiscent of seaside towns at home really, but obviously all the history is loaded into those beaches and the memorials then as you sort of progress your way across there. Yeah, it's kind of gives you a real pause for thought really. We parked up in the lovely town of Bayeaux. We get €5.50 for overnight parking, free parking during the day, so even if it's maximum one day, which I can't work out if it is or not, we're still fine for another 26 hours here if we want to be. It's a bit rough and ready, like, but for €5.50 you can't go wrong really. There's bins. It's right next to the excellent Bayeaux D-Day Museum, so I'm going to go in there to have a look around. So the museum in Bayeaux, which covers actually the whole of the Battle of Normandy, not just D-Day, is well worth a visit. It's really, really modern, well presented, easy to go through, not too much written stuff, an awful lot of exhibits on display, an impressive array of armoured vehicles and sort of motorised vehicles as well. Also a section in there about the liberation of Bayeaux and the return of Charles de Gaulle and his famous speech to the French people. Yeah, so the museum, which covers the entire period of the Battle of Normandy, well worth a visit for an overview of not just D-Day but what went on afterwards to enable the Allies to break out of the area. It's actually really well placed as well, because just up the road from there is the Bayeaux War Cemetery. So the inscription on the monument at Bayeaux War Cemetery, which is the largest Commonwealth cemetery in the area, reads something along the lines of, "We who were once conquered by William have returned to liberate his homeland." And it's the largest one, I believe, in this part of France. There's about 4,000 graves in there, so it's quite sobering really. You go in, it's all well and good to sort of watch a film or read some accounts from history, but I think if you walk into the cemetery it kind of really brings it home a little bit. So yeah, you know, a couple hundred meters away was a must visit really. And as always, it's the sort of unmarked graves, the people who were never identified, that's what hits home the most, I think. So even though we were parked right next to the main road last night, it's pretty quiet until, you know, sort of morning rush hour this morning. So yeah, €5.50 for an overnight stay, close to a town. Awesome. So Bayeaux really is a beautiful town, and even without its associations with D-Day and other things, which we'll come to soon, it's well worth a visit in itself to see the gorgeous historic buildings. So one thing we find a little bit weird at the moment is, you know, it's Friday afternoon, a lot of stuff is closed, and I think this is because one of the shop owners telling us basically January and February is kind of holiday time here, so I think obviously during the summer season it gets really busy, and also for Christmas and everything, so yeah, they just take their time coming back, which sounds like a nice way to do it really. So curiously, even though Bayeaux was the first major town to be liberated after D-Day, just the day after I believe, it's actually probably more famous because of its association with another invasion. So inclined as I am towards historical things, like it's unimaginable to me that I could come to Bayeaux and not visit the tapestry. I've never seen it before, so I didn't come in. I have seen it before myself, but that's not going to stop me. €12 to get in to have a look around it. It is what it says on the tin, really, except it's not a tapestry, it's an embroidery, which I just learned. However, it is a 900-year-old 70-meter long embroidery. But interesting, yeah, it kind of serves as almost like a newspaper or a comic book breakdown of the reasons for and the actual invasion by William the Conqueror and the Battle of Hastings in 1066, so well worth a visit. So after a couple of nights in Bayeaux, we head away from the British and Canadian sectors as they were on D-Day and into the American sectors instead. First stop for us will be the Normandy American Cemetery. This hugely imposing, hugely emotive space above Omaha Beach, or Bloody Omaha as it became known to the Americans. So the cemetery, which holds well over 10,000 graves, is probably most famous to modern day audiences for being the location of the start and the end of the film Saving Private Ryan. After visiting the largest Commonwealth cemetery and the largest American cemetery as well, it seemed only right to visit the largest German cemetery in Normandy, and that is at Le Cam. It has a very different feel to the other cemeteries. It's very austere, very gothic. Each plaque on the ground marks the burial place of several people. The large mound in the centre is a mass grave. There are well over 20,000 buried here. Finish our brief detour through D-Day country, we end up on the western flank of the airborne invasion where the American paratroops landed in Normandy. First stop for us as huge fans of the show Band of Brothers is the Memorial to Easy Company at Bayeaux Manor before the excellent US Airborne Museum at San Mary-Glise. Whilst being focused specifically on the US Airborne, this museum is definitely one of the best I've been to in the Normandy area and well worth a visit if you're passing through. So a stop for that night as we headed west was the little town of Lessay, and the first time we'd encountered the idea of a free air with services.
So this place is free and they have grey waste, emptying, free water and toilet emptying for nothing, and it was really quiet overnight. Fab.
So look at us filling up with LPG with no assistance whatsoever apart from YouTube. Anyway, yeah, needs an adapter. You need a big disc adapter. You must have like a selection of adapters when you travel with your van. But yeah, we were running out of the old GPL, or yeah, it's called GPL here, by the way, not LPG. So as we head through Brittany, we took a brief detour to Mont Saint-Michel and saved €12 in parking by parking for free in a cafe and spending €20 on stuff there. So after our detour to Mont Saint-Michel, we head a little bit further across into the walled city of Dinan and a free air. So just above where we parked in Dinan, there's a ruined castle up on the hillside. Just come up and had a look. It's such a glorious day today. It's a bit cold still, it's winter obviously, it's just the start of February, but it's been beautiful. The sun's been out all day. Yeah, and the countryside looks wonderful. So yeah, lovely little stopover, another free park up for the night. Some facilities. It is in like a car park, but yeah, it doesn't bother us really. Yeah, another excellent service provided by France. Cheers. So we've had a bit of a maintenance day today, what that basically equates to is we haven't done very much, and we've ended up spending quite a lot of money because we've had to go shopping. We did our laundry, which cost us around about 21 euros. I think we had an absolute ton of it. We had to 3/4 of a tank of petrol, so petrol's slightly more expensive here than back home, not a vast amount, but that's like 104 euros for petrol. Gotta get some AdBlue, had to get some screen wash, so yeah, it worked out a bit of an expensive day really. And then we went to a lovely air which Steph had found, which was closed. So that's the first time we've come across that since we've been here. Just a barrier, a gate across saying don't move the barrier, go away sort of thing. But anyway, this was plan B, and what a fantastic plan B it is. So this cost us the princely amount of
€4.70.
And I'm really putting her on the spot now. Where are we parked?
It's near Carnac.
Yeah, we're near Carnac, which looks like a cool place. It's got a real rich ancient history around here, so hopefully we'll have some cool things to show you tomorrow. So I'm just on a glass of cider at the moment. Chilly, she's not really having anything, but Steph's on the good stuff. What are you on?
Some Calvados. It's like apple brandy. But it tastes like cider. Cider brandy.
40% cider.
Nice.
It's good stuff. Got to have it if you come this way. So our stop outside of Carnac was lovely. It was so nice. We actually stayed a couple of extra nights. We did make a slight mistake. The €4.30 or whatever it was to come in was just for an initial hour, and we thought, oh god, is that going to make it really expensive? Oh yeah, it was massively expensive. So for the whole day, €8.80. So about £8 to stay for 24 hours next to a campsite with loads of facilities close to the beach. It was so peaceful and lovely. We ended to stay a couple of days. Anyway, we've now come into Carnac, and we're going to have a quick look around some of the things that make Carnac famous. So Carnac is famous for being at the centre of an unusually large collection of megalithic monuments. So the monuments take a number of different forms, but perhaps the most striking are the alignments of the stones, which run for kilometres at a time, and really have to kind of be seen to be believed, really. A pretty amazing sight. So one thing you do notice as you're making your way around Brittany is signs become bilingual, and that's because the native language Breton is back in use here, even though there were stop me if you heard this before, but there were attempts by the central government to sort of eliminate it back in the 1960s. Apparently closely related Cornish and Welsh. I haven't really noticed the Welsh connection. Also more distantly related to Scots and Irish, which is what I said to Steph, it looks like sort of Gaelic almost to me, some of the pronunciation or the sort of spelling. But yeah, interesting how just moving across the country you come across these kind of pockets of individuality, I guess. So after having our minds blown by the stone alignments, we head to the coast and Saint Nazaire, overlooking the Bay of Biscay on the Atlantic coast. And that's where we're going to leave you for this week's episode. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we'll see you all again next time.